I get the money together and go to make this happen. And at the last minute, he says, "No, I can't do it." I said, "Alan, you promised." And I went out of my way to generate this money. And he goes, "Well, I'm not doing it. My lawyer said, why are you doing this? You're a wealthy man. You're retired. You're putting your neck out. And quite honestly, that footage really isn't yours. It's the government's." So he's like, I'm not going to. And I kept pestering him. I went to his house a couple of times subsequently to then. And then I was talking to, which I think it should probably remain nameless, this individual, but I was talking to a government insider that participated in the program. And I was telling this individual about the story. And I said, yeah, and he goes, well, what do you want to do about it? I was like, well, he says he doesn't want to give it up because it's not even his property. It's the government's property. He goes, okay, well, should we take action? I said, yeah, at this point, screw it. The guy's going to die with it. So I gave the government his name. And I actually have a recording from him calling me going, I can almost play it for you. It's really funny. And these guys are contacting me and they want to get the footage. What do I do? Did you send them out, after this? I said, yeah, I did. And he goes,
man, I'm staying on your good side.
Yeah.
I'm staying on your good side. Did I tell you how much?
I was like, hey, you said it wasn't yours. It was the government's property. Now they want it back for analysis. And I told the people that I'm working with, I said, if you guys get your hands on this, I want a copy. You get a copy. This is not going to disappear down a black hole. Do I have your word on that? Yes. I said, okay, I'll help you go after this. So they contacted him. They had to prove all their credentials, who they were, which they did. And now he's currently, as of right now, in the process of, tracking it down. And so that's happening. And they had something they wanted to show me of a launch that they found. They found two canisters. One canister, I think, was like there were two dates in that apparently borrowed a lens from NASA, and they filmed this Atlas rocket with a high-powered lens and a couple of different occasions. I'm trying to remember if it's two dates within the same month. It might have been. One was maybe the 15th. One might have been the 22nd, something like that. It was February. But in any case, one footage from 1964 was there at the archives. They found it. The other one, I believe they found the canister, but the film's gone. So they think perhaps the film footage that Alan Sandler has might be the one that they can't find. So they want to find that because obviously you've got, shot of an Atlas. If Emmenegger saw it, he told me all about it. Alan's seen it. He told me about it. Angela Joyner had told me about it. That you got two different camera angles. You got one that zoomed in rather close and you could see 2 or 3 objects flying around the tip of this Atlas rocket while it's doing 8 to 10,000 miles an hour. And they said it was circling it. And then there's a slightly more distant shot of it. And so they quickly eliminated any possibility that it was lens flare or anything like that, because it was the exact same thing, exact same movement of these little disc-shaped objects that circled the head of it. And so we're going after it. And they wanted to, I talked to them about it and they showed me some footage of the Atlas rocket. And they're like, oh, we're thinking about releasing this one. I was like, that's not even close to what he described, the gentleman that shot the footage. Jacobs? Is it Robert Jacobs? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the individual's name who's been talking about the footage that he took in the early, I think it was 1964. And so that was the primary reason why I was there. But we were also just talking UFOs, different cases, certain leads I was trying to give them to follow up on. I was asking them.
Did you have to leave your phone outside?
Oh, absolutely. And I had to get a 48-hour background check on me. And then I had to go through all this metal detector security. They had these glass tubes like in Star Trek where you have on one side, it goes, opens up, and then you walk in. There's just one person at a time. And there's like one here, one here, one here, all the way down. And then you walk in this glass tube, and it goes, the doors open, and you step inside, and then that closes, and another one opens, and you go through. I was like, this is crazy. And then I went up to the door, and it was just like the door I expected it to be, like a big vault door with a bunch of buttons and stuff on it. I tried not to look when he's pushing the buttons to open the door. And they walked me into the building and walked down the hallway, and I was like, can't believe I'm in a SCIF. This is crazy, you know? And then he walks me up in this hallway, and there was 2 doors, one on my left, one on my right. The door on the right was closed. The door on the left was open. And so I can see a oblong kind of shaped table and like 5 or 6 people sitting down talking at this table. And I was stopped right there. I was waiting for him. And so I looked over to the left, and I was eavesdropping on these guys, right? There was a couple of women and a couple guys, and they were having this conversation, and I was tuning into it. And I'm looking, and one of them gets up, slams the door in my face. I was like, sorry, I couldn't help myself. And then they come back, open the door, and then Jon Kosloski comes in and talking, and they said, well, you know, it's funny, actually, a prerequisite is the mandatory watching. If you're going to work for AARO, you have to watch The Phenomenon. I was like, you're kidding me. He goes, no, I'm not. And then he said, boy, that
really?
case,
That's pretty cool.
I swear to God. He goes, that case at the end of The Phenomenon, that landing case in Africa. Wow. And I said, yeah, right. Isn't that incredible? He's like, that's really incredible. All those children saying the same thing. It was really cool. And then that's when I started saying, like, you know, look, you guys got to throw us a bone. I mean, we ultimately know that the vast majority of these things can be explained, right? Because it's the resolution office. But there's a stubborn core, 15, 20% that clearly not. That's probably, you know, non-human intelligence. They didn't like deny anything or shake their heads no or anything. And that's when Jon, the new head of AARO, looked at me, and he said, I can say this, and I'm going to say it. He said, James, I can't part my hair without the DOD's approval. And you can quote me on that. So I thought to myself, wow, why would he tell that to me? I think he's basically saying that his hands are tied no matter what he uncovers.
That's exactly what he said.
That's
you don't
exactly
have to read between the lines. Yeah.
You don't have to read between the lines. Yeah. So he said, you can, he looked at me, you can share that publicly. You can talk about this meeting. You can say that. So I am.